I saw a little tiny item in the paper that they were opening up a college in Long Beach. I can't remember whether it was a nickel or a dime. I rode the bus out to the corner of Pacific Coast Highway and Anaheim Road. And there was a little thing like where you sell berries. So they sell berries along the street. And there was a woman in there, and so and they had a sign up there, register here. And so I did. And I asked her how many had registered, and she said, you're the 18th.
I was astounded that what it had turned into, and to find out that there, instead of having 300 people, there were 30,000.
It was really scary. I don't think I saw anyone I knew the first week of coming here.
When I got to Cal State, I was a lot closer to my goals. There was a lot more offered, so much more going on, and that was really exciting.
I got called up into the Korean situation. I realized, boy, I got to get myself a degree here because, and at the same time I was married and a child, so I didn't have a lot of time to fool around.
My father one day said, if you want to go to Oregon, fine, we'll send you to Oregon, but if you go to Long Beach, I'll buy you a car. And that's all it took, car. And he kept the deal. He got me a nice red sports car, and I was very happy with that.
I came to go there as a student because it was the only university I could afford to go to at the time.
I was looking for a good art school, and my counselor told me that Cal State Long Beach had one of the best programs in the state.
Proximity, and it has a very reputable physical therapy program, and that's why I came here, is for the physical therapy program, because I knew that's what I wanted to do.
I remember the day that we chose the colors. We were going to do something in volleyball, and they asked him what our colors were, and he just made them up. He said they're brown and gold. We all yelled at him and said, why would you pick brown and gold? There's no brown crepe paper, and it's too hard to find gold. And he said, well, I don't know, it just seemed like pretty colors, so I chose it.
But it was a pioneering atmosphere, and everyone bought into it, and they were there because they wanted to be. It was wonderful for us at that time.
They didn't have broad cameras then with wide lenses. They would take sometimes 3 sections, and they would take this section and then this one, and they would put them together, and that's how you'd get that long row. Well, if you look in the picture that was taken in 1951 particularly, you'll see that all the people, the guys in the back rows on this one are the same guys that are in the rows there, because they just got up and ran over and got in both pictures.
I was in the women's physical education major program. Our equipment in volleyball was 2 volleyballs and a net, and basketball was 2 basketballs. And if one went flat or if you lost it, that's all you had.
I live for sports. I love all sports. But basically, basketball keeps me going, keeps me in school. I'm pushing for something. Not only basketball, but to play basketball, you have to pass your classes. So I'm really pushing right now. And I think everyone that's an athlete really knows that they have to push in the classroom to be a good athlete.
Parking was a real problem in those days. In fact, we talked a lot about it. We parked in dirt.
The mud hill, where the student union is now housed. Students drove in on the dried mud, and on rainy days, of course, it created a lot of interesting problems.
We were sitting in class, and it was pouring down rain, and we looked up out of the classroom window, and all the cars were just gently sliding down the hill and making a great big mess at the bottom.
Well, they eventually worked them out. They had some tow trucks, and they eventually got them all out of there, but it was a real mess.
Parking can be pretty bad. I usually don't have trouble finding a park, but I always have to allot at least 15 minutes to walk to wherever I'm going.
When I hear people complain about parking, they're complaining because they have to walk from so far away. I ride my bicycle, except in the rain. It's a problem if you can't find a parking space.
We sure did. We had some pretty wild parties.
There was always a lot of, TGIF kinds of activities on Friday, and a lot of parties and games and different events on weekends.
It wasn't unusual for a group of us to go across the street to the 49er and have a few beers while we were studying. That would happen.
We made engraved invitations that said in script, the Brothers of Sigma Alpha Epsilon cordially invite you to their first annual, and then in bold letters, sewer party.
Oh, yes, the SAEs. That was a wild time. SAEs did have wild parties.
We had Bobby Hatfield of the Righteous Brothers. I hired him for $45.
I was the first one in the dorm to live there on the 3rd floor, and it was fun. It was the first time I had ever been away from my home.
It was fun, you know. It was good place to go, you know, like since I lived so far away, and made a lot of friends and had a lot of experiences.
It was very different than it is now, primarily in the sense that we were all male and all female residence halls, and there were very different rules and regulations than there are today.
Of course, no boys in the room. We had a PA system. We had, like, whenever we would have a caller, they would call into our room, and then we would go down and meet him. We'd have to be fully dressed. We used to wear muumuus in our room, but that was a no-no.
I live in a quiet building that everybody who wanted to get into it had to specifically sign up for it. So it's quiet, and I have a chance to get a lot of studying done. So it works out really good for me.
Oh, we weren't allowed. We could not go in past 10. Our dorm mother would lock the door. And so my roommate used to have to sneak in after curfew.
There was a lot going on then. There were some pretty good baseball teams in those days, and I know they got some good crowds out for that.
I played third base. I played a little shortstop, but most of the time I played a little at first base, but most of my career was at third base. I really cherish those experiences very much. I cherish my athletic experiences there as much as I do those in the classroom. They were always special to me.
We had homecoming, which our sorority had 2 homecoming queens. We decorated floats. We did all kinds of things. They were pretty decorative. It was sort of like a mini Rose Bowl or Rose Parade. And we had quite a few floats. All the sororities represented, all the fraternities, all the clubs on campus.
That was a lot of fun, and one of the real high points in terms of traditional college athletic spirit.
The biggest event on campus was the 49er days.
49er days were great. We always had a good time. The fraternity, every fraternity and all the groups on campus get together and do build a 49er day town.
And it had games and a lot of competition between the clubs. Eating pies, dunking for donuts, walking logs.
We had one night where we probably had a little too much firewater, and we all decided we were going to become Indians. And we got some bows and arrows and some cotton and some gasoline or kerosene or something, and we snuck to the campus and shot flaming arrows at these facades of buildings. And that was a real hoot.
John F. Kennedy was president, and for young people, I think it was a very exciting time, very idealistic time. The civil rights movement, the free speech movement, and everything that happened later on in the 60s.
The Rolling Stones, the Beatles, somewhat the Beach Boys still, those kind of Janis Joplin.
The Hare Krishna were dancing everywhere, chanting and dancing, and oftentimes you would have to cross a Hare Krishna line in order to get to class.
Levi's, didn't matter if they were dirty or had holes in them. Sandals were the big thing. I can remember wearing headbands. Headbands were a big deal. And for the girls, I think it was more in the earlier 60s what the miniskirts were. But those were nice.
There were some demonstrations, and I wasn't used to that.
I saw some demonstrations. I saw building takeovers. One night I was in a grad class, and about 7 o'clock, the basement of the faculty office next door blew up.
I think that people were very aware of the war. We did have demonstrations. I remember very clearly the Vietnam Vets Against the War demonstrations.
It was obvious that this was just going to be the start of something that really going to be a major university, and the way the land and the location, and there was a lot going on. As I said, a lot of building, a lot of dirt being moved around. So it was a really exciting time.
I like to look to the future, and I remember very vividly as a student seeing a display of the master plan in the library, and you could see buildings that were going to be built and things like that. And that was exciting to me then, and to have, in a small way, been a part of some of that and see a lot of that happen has just been wonderful to see. There was no student union, there was no international house like we have now, there was no event center like we're going to have in in the near future. The trees that are now big and beautiful were small and barren, and it's just it's been an exciting thing to see develop.
Coming back to the campus, it's like, hey, I used to go to school here, you know, and now I've come back and I'm building a building here, you know, making sure it's safe. May not be financially, but you know, I feel like I've definitely donated back to the university.
If you wanted something on your tombstone, what more could be better than to say he or she really helped, or even just really tried to help? And, you know, being involved with this Fine Arts Center thing, you know, why did I do that, or why would I do that? And the answer is, it's an extremely important thing. It's extremely beneficial to the children who go there. The university will benefit from that. The community will benefit from that. Those things are very important. And somebody's got to do it.
I was co-chairman of the campaign to raise the money to add the extras to the building. It's been rewarding, being able to give something back. I never dreamed that when I went to the university that I'd ever be in a position to do that, and it's been important.
We have a tremendous opportunity to give our young people a quality education for a minimal amount of dollars. Come back to the state colleges and give back to them what we got, just in time or effort or money. We can help all these young people continue to get a good education and go on.
I'm not sure that we're giving anything back. Maybe we're just passing the baton to the next set of runners so that they can pass it to the next set of runners, and maybe each one can run further and faster.
I think you should always remember your roots. And I think the roots that you establish when you can look back 30 years or 40 years should be very endearing. And I think, yes, I don't think you should ever forget that. I think you should do what you can, because if someone helped you, it's important that you help someone else.
Kennedy used the expression, I don't know whether it was original with him, but one man can make a difference and every man should try.